Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I asked you to gather today in order to talk about the situation developing on the world energy markets in the area of ours. And I would like to hear your opinion on the events taking place, to consult with you on how we should coordinate the efforts of the state and our private companies in connection with the events taking place. We will also discuss in this regard Russia's further actions in the field of global energy in general, including taking into account the escalation of the situation as we understand it in the Middle Eastern direction. Russia has repeatedly, I would like to note right away, warned that attempts to destabilize the situation in the Middle East would inevitably put the global fuel and energy complex under threat, raise prices for oil and gas, limit the supply of these resources around the world, and would certainly disrupt long-term investment plans. It appears that this is exactly what is happening. Today we see logistical problems on the routes for transporting hydrocarbons, and we see that this is having the most negative impact on global production, on global supply chains. It is hitting industry, all of it, in essence, without any exaggeration, the entire system of international economic relations, because following the disruption of supplies come other problems of a purely economic nature. Inflation rises, and production not only of oil and gas, but also the production of industrial goods suffers. I will remind you that last year about 1/3 of the world's maritime oil exports passed through the Strait of Hormuz, which is around 14 million barrels per day. Of these, about 80% were directed to the countries of the Asia-Pacific region. This route is now effectively closed. Oil production that is tied to the use of the strait risks coming to a complete halt within the next month. It has already begun to decline. Storage facilities in the region are filling up with oil that cannot be exported, or is very difficult to export, or very expensive to export. It is obvious that a complete switch of Middle Eastern oil supplies without using the Strait of Hormuz is currently unrealistic. Changing logistics will not only take a long time, but will also require significant infrastructure expenditures, expansion of marine terminals, and so on. And of course, it will be associated with high political risks that have not gone away. Consumers need oil today. As a result, global oil prices are rising. We can see this very clearly. Just over the past week, they have increased by more than 30%. I checked this morning at 5:30 Moscow time. It had already broken through 119. It was above $119 per barrel. Then 107, 109, 106. Right now, I believe it is 103 at this moment in time. But fluctuations are continuing nonetheless, and the trend is not towards a decrease, but towards an increase. An analogous situation is developing on the global gas market as well. Supplies of liquefied natural gas from the Middle East have dropped sharply. The region has seen reduced production capacity, the restoration of which will take weeks, if not months. It is impossible to promptly compensate for the falling volumes. As a result, global gas prices are also rising at an even faster pace, it seems, than oil prices. What would I like to emphasize in this regard? Under current conditions, competition among buyers for energy suppliers for ensuring stable and predictable supplies of oil and gas is intensifying. In this regard, of course, I cannot help but say and remind not only the colleagues sitting here in this room, but also all of our consumers in general, that it was precisely with stability that Russian energy companies have always been distinguished. It is obvious that the global logistics of the fuel and energy sector under the conditions of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East will change in favor of more advantageous, more promising markets. At the same time, it must be understood that the current high prices for commodities are certainly of a temporary nature. We understand this. It is an obvious thing, and we must proceed from this. That is why I asked you to gather and consult with you on what we must do to coordinate our efforts in the near term. The change in the balance of supply and demand for hydrocarbons will, of course, lead to a new stable pricing reality. This will inevitably happen. Therefore, it is important for Russian energy companies to use the current moment, including in order to direct additional export revenues toward reducing their debt burden, their debt to domestic banks. Dear colleagues, I would like to draw your special attention to this. I ask the government and the central bank to take this process under control. I will emphasize, Russia acts as a reliable supplier of